Hi everyone, so let us continue with the OSI model. In the last video, we have discussed why OSI model is required and how all the layers work together. So today we will study the functions of two layers of the OSI model in detail. So in this video, we will learn the functions of two layers in detail, that is the physical layer and the data link layer. So first, let us revise some of the basic concepts of the OSI model, which we have already discussed in the previous video. So OSI stands for Open System Interconnection Model. It will have 7 layers, that is physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation and application layer. And also each of these layers will have its own different functions. Also at the sender side, each layer will add its information and send it to the lower layers. For example, application layer will add its information and send to presentation layer. Presentation will add its information and send to session layer, and so on till it reaches the physical layer. And at the receiver side, each layer will remove the information for it and pass it on to the higher layers. For example, data link layer will remove the information for it and pass it on to network layer. Network layer will remove information for it and pass it on to transport layer, and so on till it reaches the application layer. So first let us discuss the function of the physical layer. At the sender side, physical layer is the lowermost layer, and at the receiver side, physical layer is the first layer. So being the lowermost layer at the sender side, the physical layer will receive information from the layer above it, that is from the data link layer, and the information will be in the form of bits. So the main work of the physical layer is to convert the bits into signals at the sender side and send it over the transmission medium, and then at the receiver side it will convert the signals back into the form of bits and then pass it on to the higher layer, that is the data link layer. So we can say that physical layer coordinates the functions required to carry the bit stream over the transmission medium. So let us discuss some more physical layer functions. The first physical layer function is representation of bits. Now we know that physical layer will convert the bits to signals. So to convert the bits into signals, different types of encoding methods are used. So what kind of encoding method is used? That is how the bits are converted into signals, that is how the zeros and ones are converted into signals, will be decided by the physical layer. Next function is the data rate. Data rate basically is the transmission rate, which is the number of bits sent per second. So the number of bits sent per second is also determined by the physical layer. Next, the physical layer is also concerned with the line configuration, that is concerned with how the devices are connected to the medium. For example, the line configuration can be either point-to-point or multi-point. Now this point-to-point and multi-point we have already discussed in the previous video. That is, in point-to-point there will be a dedicated link, whereas in multi-point the link will be shared. Next is physical topology. Now physical topology is the arrangement of devices over a network, or it will tell us how the devices are connected over a network. So how the devices are connected over a network will be determined by the physical layer. There are different types of topologies like mesh, star, bus, ring and hybrid. So all these different types of topologies we have already discussed in the previous videos. Next function is the transmission mode or data flow. Transmission mode will tell us the direction of flow of information between two devices. So the three transmission modes are simplex, half duplex and full duplex. In simplex, it is unidirectional, meaning one device can only send whereas the other can only receive. In half duplex, both the devices can send as well as receive but not simultaneously. Whereas in full duplex, both the devices can send as well as receive the data simultaneously. Now again, all these transmission modes we have discussed in detail in the earlier videos. So the physical layer will define the transmission mode. Next function is synchronization of bits, which means that the physical layer will make sure that the sender and the receiver clocks are synchronized. Last function is physical characteristics of interfaces and medium, which means that the physical layer will define the features of interfaces and the transmission medium used. Also, it will define the type of transmission medium used. Next, let us discuss the data link layer. Data link layer is the second layer in the OSI model. So being the second layer, the data link layer will receive information from the layer above it, that is from the network layer. So at the data link layer, it will add its information in headers and trailers and pass the frame to the physical layer. The physical layer will then convert the bits to signal and pass it over the network or the transmission medium. Then at the receiver side, physical layer will convert the signal back to bits and pass it on to the data link layer. The data link layer will remove the information for it, that is, it will remove the headers and trailers and pass the data to the network layer. Also, we need to know that the information at the data link layer is known as frames. Now let us discuss some of the functions of the data link layer. The main function of the data link layer is hop-to-hop delivery. So consider this is network A and this is network B. So devices in network A are connected using some topology. Over here they are connected using bus topology. Similarly, devices in network B will be connected by some topology. So over here they are connected using star topology. Now say suppose A3 wants to send some data to B1. So if A3 wants to send some data to B1 which is in another network, then it won't directly send the data, but it will send through some connecting devices like routers. So the main function of data link layer is hop-to-hop delivery, which means that if A3 is sending the data, then on which node will it send first is the responsibility of the data link layer. Now consider it sends the data to R1. So only delivering the data to the next hop is the responsibility of the data link layer. As a result, it is known as hop-to-hop delivery. It is not concerned with delivering the data from source to destination. That work is of the network layer. But it is only concerned with delivering the data to the next hop. Now once data reaches R1 or router 1, R1 may be connected to more networks. But using its routing table, R1 will check to which network or to which router B1 is connected to and accordingly send the data. So again, sending the data from R1 to R2 is the responsibility of the data link layer because it is hop-to-hop delivery, and then data will be sent from R2 to B1. Actually from R2 data will be sent to the connecting device and then from connecting device to B1. I have not shown that hop over here. So this is the meaning of hop-to-hop delivery, which means that data link layer is only concerned with delivering the data to the next hop. So let us discuss some more functions of the data link layer. Hop-to-hop delivery we have already discussed. Second is physical addressing. Physical addressing meaning MAC address will be attached. So when data is sent from the data link layer, in the header of the frame, the MAC address of the sender and the receiver will be attached. Also, since data link layer is concerned with hop-to-hop delivery, the MAC address will change from every hop to hop. Now say for example in this figure, if A3 is sending to R1, then the source address will be that of A3 and destination address will be that of R1. And if R1 is sending to R2, then in the frame the source address will be of R1 and destination address will be of R2, and similarly for the other hops. So the MAC address of the sender and receiver will always change from hop to hop. Another functionality of the data link layer is error control. Now this error control is used to detect and retransmit damaged or lost frame. So this error control information will be present in the trailer of the frame. Also we need to know that this error control functionality is also present in the higher layers. But over here in data link layer, it is concerned with only hop to hop. In data link layer, error control information will be applied from one hop to another hop. Next functionality is the flow control. Now flow control is concerned with the speed of data transmission. Now say for example A3 is sending to R1 and say suppose A3 is sending the messages very fast. So in that case R1 may be overflowing with all the frames or it may be overflowing with all the messages, and in that case it may even discard some of the frames. So in order to keep a track of this, different flow control mechanisms are used like stop and wait protocol, then go back and etc. Now also we need to know that this flow control is present in the higher layers also, that is present in the transport layer. But over here the flow control is only from one hop to another hop and not from source to destination. Next functionality is framing. Framing meaning the data link layer will divide the information received from the network layer into data which is known as frames. So the data at the data link layer are called as frames. Another functionality of data link layer is access control. Access control is used to keep a track of who has control over the channel. Now say for example, many devices start sending at the same time. Then there will be collision. So in order to prevent that problem, different access control mechanisms are used, which is the responsibility of data link layer. Thank you.